right, welcome in. Israel's back and feeling better. It's the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, presented by Betonline.ag. Israel, it's good to have you back, man. What's going on?
Hey man, glad to be back. School started as well as a lot of germs and kids coming in. So luckily it was nothing, big like the big C that's been going around. So I'm a lot better. And for public service announcement, people wash your hands. It's very, very important.
The germs, they pull no punches. So, but we're glad to have you back. It's definitely been a weird journey with you on the sidelines, but you're back now. But we're both back on the sidelines. You eked out a win last week, and we started slow but finished strong up here at Innsworth. We won 40-6 with probably the poorest display of special teams you could have and still win 40-6. And Israel, we were talking off air about your quarterback not understanding down and distance in relation to RPO.
Yeah, he had a little mix up. It's like I said, it's one of those things that, when we get into this, Georgia's going to deal with too, the little inexperience, new guys in new places and things like that. So understanding situations, but man, he's had a phenomenal week of practice. As a quarterback, first game jitters are always, going to happen. Yeah. So, trying to make a play, which I don't fault him at all. He's been the guy we're going to ride with him. So just a little first game jitters, and he's had a great week. So I'm looking forward to see what he does this Friday night.
That was probably the calmest way you could have explained that, because I know you're probably losing your mind Friday. But we are presented by Betonline.ag, your number one source for all your sports betting needs. They have live odds. They have futures. You can bet on any sport. Week 0 is actually here, and it's upon us. We're going to make some picks this week at the end of the show. So we're going to make a few picks here. College football is officially back. I'm planning on going to the Vanderbilt game, actually, as they take on Hawaii. They host Hawaii, so that'll be fun.
They're going to be outside or inside?
To be determined. I'll be sitting in the rubble. I'll be sitting on the bulldozer.
That is bad management on those guys. Time management was not on their side.
No, it's not. And I understand that it's not the first time that stadium renovations have happened during the season, but this takes it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. You got a whole side missing.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Usually they're a little bit further along, but to each his own. Obviously, Vanderbilt cares a great deal about SEC football. So they might actually sell out a game, though, because they lost over half their stadium.
So, it's very true. It's very, very true.
Good for them. Good for them. Well, we practiced today at Vanderbilt, actually. We practiced in their indoor, so that was fun. So thank you, Vanderbilt. As much grief as I'm giving you right now, thank you for opening your doors for us and letting us practice in your indoor, if anyone from Vanderbilt happens to be listening.
Yes, and our indoor is currently being built as we speak at this particular moment. So,
well, there you go.
They've broken ground. They've gotten the field up. Poles are gone. So the beams are coming in tomorrow, I believe.
Hopefully one comes soon at Innsworth. It's long overdue, especially with the heat and the fickle weather that we have here in Tennessee. It's long overdue.
Absolutely.
Even like a 50-yard full width field would be nice. Just something, right?
Yeah. I mean, the morning dew in the morning, especially when you're a natural grass school, is kind of rough.
That is very rough. Like one person drops a pass, the day's over.
It's ball game. You can't practice on side kids because kids don't want to fall. I don't want them to fall because they're wet the rest of the day. It's rough. It's rough.
It's rough out there. So I'll tell you who it's not rough for. Carson Beck. He was officially named starter for the Bulldogs. Coming as no surprise to anyone. Everyone predicted that. You watch spring game, you're like, that's the starter. It was pretty obvious, but it's good to finally just get the official naming of it, so you don't have to answer questions about it. You don't have to wonder if there was a scenario that possibly came up where he's not the quarterback one. But here we go. So one of the questions I was asked by our mates over at Illegal Motion, they filled in quite nicely for you last week. So they peppered me with questions. One of those questions being about Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm. What you got?
Why is he going to be? Does he have a chance to continue to repeat? What makes him special?
I think it's one of those things where he's realized that it's his time. Watching him during the spring game, watching him talk. He did an interview with Aaron Murray the other day that I was listening to. So I think he realized that it is his time. I think there is no pressure on him. In my opinion, simply because he's been here before. And I think it's just he's realized that this is my team now, and it is important that I make sure that I'm at my best. Every single day. And it's not about you know going out and proving the naysayers wrong. It's about proving those guys that are in your circle in that locker room that you're dependable, that
Mhm.
you're a leader, and you can get the job done. The world, don't worry about everybody else. The noise is going to come.
Yeah.
You and I both know in this coaching world. I mean, people talk about you like you guys won 49-6. Pretty sure somebody had something to say about something.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
can't worry
Well,
about
we
outside.
gave him stuff in special teams. So,
So, you just worry about those guys, in that locker room, making sure they know, that you got their back, you're gonna give it 100%. I think he's done that, since, Stetson left and he
Mhm.
realizes that, hey, I got the keys to this Cadillac now, so let's ride, boys.
Yeah. I mean, I've always applauded his awareness, his pocket presence, and just the way he's able to kind of glide around. He's very smooth
Mm,
when he moves. He doesn't appear to be moving fast, but I mean, he's athletic. He can run, and
absolutely.
that's a I don't want to say hidden talent because that makes me think that, or that's going to make people think I think he's slow because I don't think that at all. But I mean, he has the physical tools that he has as a quarterback allow him to function within the system. Probably not to the same degree as Stetson Bennett because Stetson Bennett could move around at an elite level, and he's showing that with the Rams right now. But I just think his poise in the pocket, I think his command of what Coach Bobo's trying to do is what has separated himself from the rest of the pack to this point. I think that will serve him well. He has 2 games to start the season to kind of clean up whatever jitters he has before we welcome the Gamecocks, and that'll be his first true test is against South Carolina and see how he does, and then his first true hostile road game is against Auburn. So I'd be interested to see kind of how he reacts in that atmosphere. I
Mm,
anticipate him being calm and collected because that's his personality.
yeah. He doesn't seem to be rattled a lot.
No, he
And
doesn't.
like I said earlier, building that trust with the new coordinator coming in. Obviously, Bubba was there, during the development of Carson Beck a little bit when he came in, so he knows it. He knows his personality. Those guys have gelled really, really well, and and Carson knows what Coach Bubba expects of him. So it just goes twofold. Just making sure hey, I'm the guy. It was announced today that he is that guy.
He is that
So
guy.
now there's no pressure. I mean, you shouldn't be looking over your shoulder, but at the same time, you got to compete every day.
Mhm.
Kirby Smart's main thing is results. What is the result? What
Yeah.
are you doing to get the best out of every day? So I think Carson has seized the moment. And I think it's his time to shine. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to see what he does. I saw him in the springtime. He's moved
Mhm.
in the pocket, had a little wiggle about him. So don't
Yeah.
be surprised if he moves the pocket a little bit too, because I mean he can run. I mean he's
Yeah.
not the most swift guy, in that quarterback room, but he can run if he needs to. So I mean, I'm just looking forward to just playing mistake free. Obviously, you go the first game jitters in Sanford Stadium is always
Mhm.
going to be very impactful. But once you get that first hit or you make that first pass, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Coach Bobo and him are going to get him comfortable. And
Yeah.
he's going to be fine.
Yeah. He'll be completely fine. So I'm not in the least bit worried about Carson Beck. I think he'll be fine. I think Coach Bobo understands what he can do well and will take advantage of that. However, huge blow to the backfield. Branson Robinson went down, torn patella. Big blow there. He was set to have a huge year, but
Mm,
fortunately, Andrew Paul has reemerged after being in the abyss of injury a year ago. He joins Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards. If those three can stay healthy, that's still going to be a pretty special room.
mhm.
The running backs, I think, are going to be a weapon. So offensively, man, I'm buying a lot of stock in Dominic Lovett.
Mhm.
I'm starting to, from what I'm hearing and reading, I'm starting to buy some stock in Ra Thomas. And of course, I think your dark horse, I'm, I'm, I'm with you 100% on this one. I love that your dark horse is Jackson Meeks because he's a big physical guy. I think he could be a really good red zone target. Who I think is going to be impacted the most by all of these guys emerging is Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint, who I think he disappears in some games. I think at times you're just like, where's Rosemy Jack Saint? I think these guys are going to step up. I really like what this receiver room looks like, even though there's a bunch of guys outside of Lad McConkey that are like, okay, which one is it going to be? We don't know exactly what to expect, but like different guys do different things really, really well. And that's what
Absolutely.
I like.
Absolutely. Rosemary Jackson is big in the perimeter blocking game. Um, he has done a phenomenal job in that. Um, you just got so many guys in that room that can make things happen. And Coach B. Mack has done a phenomenal job of coaching those
Mhm.
guys.
Yes, he has.
Having Ra and Levitt come in and add to the depth in that room is only going to make us better. Um, because I say it all the time, and I say it to my guys, you're one injury away from being a starter. So you need to prepare every day as if you're the starter. So prayers up for Branson Robinson. It's a terrible injury, but he'll bounce back. But the way that we rotate running backs, especially throughout a game series, is going to be very beneficial. For this run that we're trying to make.
Mhm.
So I think we'll be fine there. It's just when you get to practice and everything's moving fast, and I know the way that they practice is very safe. First of all, but freak things happen. Everyone, you can be walking down the street and tear your ACL. You just never know. So as long as we can stay healthy in the backfield, the sky's the limit for this offense. We're very, very experienced, very mean, very nasty up front.
Mhm.
Um, three of our guys are battling for that top honor of being the best offensive lineman in the nation.
Yeah, Outland Trophy, and we got a Remington watch list guy. It says Van Prant as well, so he's on 2 watch lists.
So the recipe for this three-peat, I won't say three-peat, for this run, for one SEC championship and to the national championship, is very much possible, but it's going to be up to the guys.
Yeah, it
Are you
really is.
complacent? And Kirby Smart said it the other day in his interview. Fighting complacency every day.
Mhm.
Are you
You have
satisfied?
to.
But you're still being hunted. So are you going to be the hunter or are you going to be the prey? So it's up to you.
One thing Kirby's done a good job is finding ways to keep that chip on everybody's shoulder. So I don't doubt that we'll be mentally ready for these games. But again, you never know. I mean, again, freak things happen. There's a
Mhm.
non-contact injury, things like that. But I'm not worried about the weapons offensively. Pierce Sperlin and Oscar Delp have also made names for themselves behind Brock Bowers. Hell, if all else fails, just line up Brock Bowers in the I formation and just toss it to him,
Give him the
play
ball.
after play. Like he can run jet sweep. So hell, he's another running back too. I mean
There you go.
that guy's a Swiss Army knife, man. I love Brock Bowers, and
You know
I
that.
can't say enough good things about Brock Bowers. He is the focal point of this offense, and he should be.
He's done a lot of great things for this offense. He's the best tight end in the nation.
Mhm.
Arguably one of the best players in the nation. So I'm just looking forward to September 2nd
Yeah,
and
September
seeing
2nd.
how we roll out there, how we play, can we execute? Because defense is defense. They're gonna come in, they're gonna knock the hell out of you. We still battling for that one corner spot over there,
Yeah,
which I
your boy
think
in
is
Island Green, man. He's got a ways to go.
so. It's just one of those things to where, hey, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna make plays? We're a week away, from seeing exactly who those guys are, and I'm excited for this season. You and I both started our seasons this
Yeah,
year. This week, this past weekend.
yeah.
So football is back, and
Football is
I'm
back.
so ready for it. I can't
I
watch baseball on TV.
yeah,
it's
I can't do it, man. I can't do it as much as I love to. I can't do it. It's like a background sport. So I'm glad
yeah.
football's starting. Football is single digit days away, uh, and then it is a week away for the rest of us. And NFL is 2 weeks away, so that's even better. So a lot of if you play fantasy, that's awesome. If you play um, if you make your bets, you can combine NFL and college picks. We'll try to give you all of that here as well. So You spoke of the defensive side of the ball. Now, when I was ranked, one of the questions I got was rank the units just overall on the team. I ranked obviously, most of our offensive units are the best units that we have. Offensive line, tight end, quarterback, running back, DB, inside linebacker. But the two positions that really concern me, I guess, if you want to say we have question marks or concerns,
Mhm.
is the outside linebackers and the defensive line. And I think it's because with the outside linebackers, you have Michael Williams, and then you have to pause,
Yeah.
right? With the defensive line, you have guys that can get the job done, but you don't have that superstar that you've had the last 2 years. You
Mhm.
were going to have one. He decided that the NIL money in LA, even though he said it wasn't, but it was, the NIL money in LA was too much for him to turn down, Bear
Mhm.
Alexander. So he jet set it off. So there's a lack of star power as far as like where you're looking at, like, you knew Jalen Carter, you knew Jordan Davis were gonna be surefire first rounders in the NFL. We don't have that. We're gonna have to create that in the aggregate. We're gonna have to create that as a joint effort by committee. And then the outside linebackers, it's Michael Williams. We know what he brings to the table. But then it is
I think you
that's
got
the question.
Chambliss. I think you got Chambliss on the other side,
Mhm.
which is going to be a really big help. I know he kind of got injured, kind of during that national championship run a little bit, but I think he's back healthy. Came in for Nolan Smith, did a phenomenal job for him.
Mhm.
Um, but then, like you said, it's like, all right, who else is going to
Now we
do
now
it?
we get young in a hurry over there.
So that's one thing that Coach Smart. I feel bad calling him Kirby all the time, but Kirby just rolls off the tongue a little bit, but
Kirby's just it just flows, man.
just flows,
I I don't
But
I don't blame you.
as a defensive guy, those guys over there in that room, they're going to do a phenomenal job. Whoever is going to step up, I haven't heard very much, on defensive side of the ball, just because, I think they keep that on the wraps a lot more than they do the offensive side. It's always been that way, even when I was in school.
Well, they're trying to create some buzz over there offensively. So
But up front, for our defensive front, we just got a bunch of guys that are going to do a good job. There are no household names over there. I think Stackhouse is one. Um, that is going to be a really good player for us. He's
yeah.
one that stands out to me, just right off the bat. But you're going to have some guys that are going to be some household names really,
Mhm.
really quick. You got
I
some
think
young,
Jordan Hall has
some old
potential.
guys, absolutely. Um,
I
but
think he has the potential to be the superstar there.
but the D line is just different. They roll those guys so much, and you
Mhm.
know, one of the a dominant factor is going to come when we play South Carolina. You
Yeah.
know, we got two warm ups, like you said, and I wouldn't call not
Yeah.
warm ups, but got two really formidable opponents coming in.
Mhm.
But when we play USC,
Let's be honest. It's UT Martin and Ball State. Well, we can call it a warm up. It's okay.
shout out to y'all guys too.
Yeah. We
Appreciate
love
you.
you, UT Martin. We have nothing but love
Thank
for you,
you
but let's be honest.
Thank you very, very much. But when we play South Carolina, is going to be the game that kind of separates everybody.
Mhm.
Up front, because we know what Rattler brings to the table. He can run it, he can throw it. Can we get pressure on him? He got a new G wagon the other day, so he's feeling himself a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's going to be that's going to be the game that's going to separate our defensive line, to me, because South Carolina's always been really good with offensive linemen, big nasty guys up front. So I'm looking forward to that to see which guy's going to step up front.
Yeah, I am too. Warren Brinson is going to be an X factor there. Jordan Hall, his development is going to really help this unit a tremendous amount. But like when you look at outside linebackers, here's some names, and a lot of people, if you're not familiar, are going to be like, who? So you have Chaz Chambliss, Marvin Jones Jr. They actually have Michael Williams listed as a D end, so he's a down guy. So you're looking at Marvin Jones, Darius Smith, Damon Wilson, Ray, CJ Madden, Gabe Harris, Samuel Mpemba. I think out of that freshman trio, I mean, it changes daily, but I think I think
Thinking,
Gabe Harris is probably going to end up being the guy that
yeah,
that plays the most
I
this
think
year out of that freshman
Mpemba
trio.
and Gabe Harris. I've seen Gabe Harris play in person. Like I said, we played against him, and he was a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think Mpemba and Harris are going to be the two that I look forward to seeing. And
Yeah.
Mpemba had a really good spring, and I know Gabe was getting yelled at the days that I was there, but he was absolutely dominating up front too as well. So some guys respond differently. So
Mhm.
and Kirby does not let up, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to. Look,
He's
well, I like
certainly
this.
not.
Those guys are going to have to grow up fast. Either
They are.
you can, what they say, that you can shit or get off the pot. And you're going to have to do one or
Mhm.
the other.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have to be that way, and it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be an ongoing battle at that outside linebacker spot. I think it's going to be a lot of guys contributing until you find that one standout guy,
Mhm.
which could be a freshman, could be Chaz Chambliss, it could be CJ Madden, it could be some. I mean, we don't know who that guy is going to be, and that's kind of exciting as well. Um, but I really love our inside linebackers, Jamon Dumas Johnson, Xavier Sori, Smell Munden. I think is he still healthy? Jalen Walker, Raylan Wilson. I think Raylan Wilson is going to be a freshman that contributes early. I really like our positioning there. Our star position, you saw Jonel Aguero in the spring game. That's a name that really jumped out at me. I think he's somebody that can make some noise at the star position from a reserve role. Tyke Smith
Mhm.
finally getting action in there.
Yes.
Uh, Nyland Green, Dalen Everett battling for that corner spot alongside Kamari Lassiter. Some exciting battles going on in the defensive backfield, man. This defense is super exciting, and I think the competitiveness is going to make this defense special because every guy's going to be chomping at the bit to get out there and make plays.
Absolutely, and no doubt. I mean, it's one of those things to where like you're my buddy. Like when we get to the butts,
Mhm.
we're talking and we're having a great time. We're getting taped and stuff and meetings, and but as soon as we step on those lines, like you are an enemy. Like
Mhm.
you're not my pal. You're not my friend. You're not my roommate. Like
Yeah.
you are a serial killer that I'm trying to catch. And
Hell
like
yeah.
you, like I'm gonna take everything away from you. You know what I mean? So that's just the mentality that they have, which is gonna make our defense, this football team, that much better.
Absolutely, man. Well, Israel, I'm glad to have you back. But we got a few minutes left in the show. Do you want to do some picks?
Let's do it. I'm excited. I
Picks?
gotta get my bet online back, man.
Yeah.
I haven't been betting on anything. I've been kind
Well,
of
it's
bored, but
going
now,
going to.
now that
Well,
football's
what are you gonna bet on until football? Well, you can play the online casino. So these picks are brought to you by Betonline.ag. Week 0 is upon us. Some of these games are kind of weird, so bear with us. Um, but the first big exciting game is Notre Dame. This is it's a home game for more reasons than you think. They are hosting the Naval Academy in Dublin, Ireland.
back.
Notre Dame is 20.5 point favorites, man. How do you see this?
Eesh, going against Navy is always a tough one, especially with this big
They got
spread.
they got a new head coach, new offensive coordinator. They've
Yes,
got the Kennesaw State flavor up there in
yes.
Annapolis.
So it's one of those to where if Notre Dame's playing the plays that they're supposed to, yes. So with that being said, I think with new quarterback at Notre Dame, um, weapons that they have because they've always had a good old line and tight end.
Yeah,
They just missing a quarterback, but I think with the new regime that's coming in, I think Notre Dame can win this one big. Um,
yeah, I think so too. I think I agree with you. I mean, I think they're going to get up on Navy and get up on them fast because Sam Hartman he did special things at Wake Forest.
yes,
Now he's at Notre Dame. So I'm taking the Fighting Irish as well, and I think I don't think we're taking into account just how bad Navy was a year ago,
yeah, they were
and
good.
they're not a team that reloads quickly.
Yeah, but then you think of, you've seen weirder things happen, especially on open weekend.
Hmm.
Again, with a Navy team that is playing too at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Hawaii is traveling to Vandy, traveling to Nashville, take on Vandy. I'll probably be at that game. I'll be on the bulldozer.
Nice.
Will Vandy bulldoze Hawaii? Vandy is 17.5 point favorites.
I think they will. I think they think this is one of the games that they actually have a chance to win. And it's at home in the Dust Bowl. So I think that they will be, well, I wouldn't say Dust Bowl, Demolition Bowl. Um, and I think, being home and, at max capacity, um, fans are going to be loud and standing on top of you. I think it's going to be a great night to be a Commodore.
Absolutely. Well, they went to a high school stadium in Hawaii last year and beat them 62-10. So there's no reason they couldn't beat them in their own high school stadium.
There you go.
So there you go. I'm taking Vandy as well. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna kind of rapid fire these other games. UTEP at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State making their FBS debut at home against the Miners. I'm taking Jacksonville State, the Fighting Christian LeMays.
I'm gonna take Jacksonville State on this one.
Yeah, I think you and I. You know what they say. If you and I agree, it's got to be fact, right?
More times than not.
Yes. Okay. So we got that one. I'm writing these down. UMass at New Mexico State. New Mexico State, 6.5-point favorites at home. I know how bad UMass is. I don't know how good or bad New Mexico State is, but I know how bad UMass is. So I'm taking the Aggies of New Mexico State.
I think I'm gonna take the Aggies too. They've actually, been pretty decent as of late.
They went golden last year, didn't they?
Yeah, hadn't heard a lot out of UMass, so I think I'm gonna take New Mexico State.
Well, I've heard a lot about UMass, and a lot of they're awful. So, here's a tough one to pick because Ohio, I think, is picked. They're one of the favorites to win the MAC conference. And I think San Diego State is up there in the Mountain West. Yeah, the MAC, the mighty MAC, Maction. I've got Ohio. Yeah, Tuesday Night Football.
Yes,
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. I'm taking the Bobcats plus 2.5.
Who they playing? San Diego State.
San Diego State.
I'm taking San Diego State.
I guess I'm alone in this venture because everybody on SEC After Dark took San Diego State as well. I guess I'm the only one that believes in the Bobcats. Come on, Bobcats, make me right here. All right. How about this for ridiculous spreads? USC minus 30.5 at home against San Jose State.
30?
30.5.
That's a tall ask.
But you have USC with a weird chip on their shoulder. They're going to the Big Ten. They got Caleb Williams, who's trying to win back-to-back Heismans. They're trying to make a playoff run, and they're trying to prove that, hey, we deserve to be in the playoff in probably the weakest conference
ever. Right.
Ever. I was trying to think of an analogy, but ever sounds good.
I think they can do it and be like 38-6 or something like that. I think that's doable.
Yeah, I think they win by 34. Yeah. So I'm taking USC. All right. Another ridiculous spread. Kent State, who pretty much dismantled their entire team. The team that came in and gave Georgia all sorts of fits. I think they returned 2 starters, 4 total.
Head coach left to beat OC.
Head coach left to be Coach Prime's OC. They're picked to finish DFL in the Maction. They travel down to Orlando to take on the UCF. I think, from what I've learned from SEC After Dark, as Steve lives in Orlando, that you cannot refer to UCF as Central Florida or the Golden Knights. They get offended by that, apparently. But they are favored by 35 points at home.
I'm not buying it.
Do you know how bad Kent State is?
Look, I don't think that they can score 35 points.
Okay. So you're going with Kent State.
I don't think they can beat them by 35 points.
Okay. All right, going with Kent State. All right. Last one before we get out of here. FIU travels to Louisiana to take on Bulldogs, Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech, 11-point favorites. I think this is fairly even. I think both teams are pretty bad. Louisiana Tech is on the rise. FIU is just, I don't think they've really ever been good.
Who's the head coach at FIU now?
Mike McIntyre.
Taking FIU.
Yeah, I'm taking them to cover. I don't know if they'll necessarily win, but I'm definitely taking them to cover. I think a double-digit spread with 2 teams that are fairly even
is a risk.
Risk. So usually you want to take the points in that scenario, which is exactly what I'm doing with FIU.
There's only 2 that we didn't agree on. I think or maybe just one.
Maybe I'm wising up and actually listening to you because you actually win these games. So that could be it. But I mean, we see the world very similarly. That's why you
Mhm.
and I have a good show. So, but yeah, that's exciting news. Wasn't that so exciting?
It was. It was. I'm just glad to be back, man. It's been a while. I'm just glad football's back.
Hell
Football.
yeah.
And I would like to do this too. I know this is a Georgia, podcast or whatever, but I'm watching the Swamp thing with Florida's team back in the
Yeah.
day, which still gives me nightmares every once in a while.
Swamp
But
Kings is the
it
name of the
does
documentary.
not surprise me that they went through the exact same thing that we did after winning a national championship. You know, people get in trouble, things like
Mhm.
that. So as we go toward this season of repeating or three-peating, guys, hey, remember, stay out of trouble. Please stay out of trouble. You got a target on your back, not only from your opponents, but other people, around the Athens area. So please, please, please stay out of trouble.
Absolutely. So, please, please, please. I think the producers of Fast and Furious are out of town finally. So,
Oh, thank
I think
God.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Hope they
So,
gave everybody Priuses.
yeah, I would say mopeds, but
Priuses.
we and scooters, but we seem to find our way in trouble in those things too.
Give you a
So,
bicycle.
yeah, you're bicycle,
Absolutely.
bicycle. So,
Give you a nice Huffy.
Huffy, here you go. Enjoy,
Hmm.
enjoy the Huffy. So, okay. Well, Israel, that's going to do it for us. I know it got late early for you, but I appreciate
Yeah,
you joining me late on a Wednesday night. Um,
absolutely.
so it's great to have you back, man. It's great to have you back in the saddle. Show's definitely different with you not around, especially when I fly solo. I just kind of have to ramble. You keep me from rambling. Like
Yeah, that's
you keep me brief. You keep
yeesh.
you keep you keep me you enhance my brevity.
I could only imagine if I was doing this myself. The show would probably be like 5 minutes.
You'd be surprised. You could go on. It's you teach, so you can stretch. You're a teacher. You know how to do that.
Yeah,
That's a
there's also
that's an inherent skill that we have as
a lot of
teachers.
breaks in my classroom as well because me standing up there teaching just ain't happening.
You taught during COVID, didn't you? Did you teach online?
I didn't have to. My class didn't have to.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it was the Corey Burton podcast for my classes, so I got a lot of practice because there's a bunch of blank screens and nobody's actually really looking
Yeah,
at you or listening to you or participating.
nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, not a shot. And so I'm just sitting there talking to nobody.
Yeah, nah.
So I can talk for 30 minutes without without any audience. I've gotten plenty of practice.
Mm,
So, but who
nice.
y'all play Richmond Hill this week?
We got Richmond Hill this week. Really, really good football team. There's 70
Where is
schools.
Richmond Hill?
It is near Savannah, like going
Okay.
toward that way.
Okay.
Effingham County, Richmond Hill, kind of on that side. So
Gotcha.
really, really good football team. So
Good.
and,
Good. What threats do they pose to you?
they're really good in the secondary. As I do my scouting report every week, I never say a corner or a safety is really, really good, but their secondary is really, really good. They're pretty sporty, really big up front. Some really good physical linebackers. So it'd be a good test for us. So we've had a really good week of practice. I mean, it's been hot down here, but our kids have embraced it. We've been kind of on their tails this week about the little things, details, and things like that. So, um, you know, preparation, meets opportunity all the time. So they have the opportunity Friday to go out here and play a good football game against a really good
There you go.
football team.
We'll give it hell and make it to 2-0. We played Montgomery Bell Academy, or best known as MBA.
Mhm.
They pose a lot of threat with experienced defense. They have 10 out of the 11 starters are seniors.
Ooh,
Um, they have a really good edge rusher, boundary edge rusher. They play an odd front. They have a really good boundary edge rusher, and they have a really good four technique that plays, I think, mostly to the field.
mhm,
Um, they're experienced, but not quite as talented as they usually are in the secondary. So there is opportunities to beat them vertically. I think coverage wise, I think they have a lot of coverage breakdown, surprisingly, as experienced as they are. I think they were a senior heavy team a year ago as well. So they have a lot of experience, but not a lot of these guys have started a ton of games. So, which is odd, but they do. They're big, they're athletic, they always have size. They're disciplined. They don't beat themselves. So, you have to go out there and beat them if you're going to win. So, that'll be an interesting test for us. But like I said, we've had a really good week of practice. It's been a weird week with the weather. It's been hot here too. We practiced at Vandy, so. We got a solid weekend. Tomorrow we'll put the hay in the barn, and Friday we're going to showcase it. So we it's our home opener.
Nice.
And so that'll be a lot of fun. And we hope to win this. This our rivals. So yeah, we get out of the gate region play with our rivals. Little backstory about this. NBA is an all boys school, right? All boys, and if you're familiar with Nashville, the Frist family, who owns like these museums, they wanted to go co-ed. They wanted NBA to go co-ed because this guy has daughters, and he's worth like a bajillion dollars, and he wanted his daughters to go to NBA. Well, NBA said, nah. So Innsworth, for the duration for its lifespan up until this point, was just a K through 8 school. And then in 2002, the Frist family was like, hey, NBA, you should go co-ed. NBA said, nah. So they said, okay, we're going to start our own high school. Innsworth, do you want a high school? Sure. Cool. And then they stole the coach from NBA. And then he won state championships at NBA, and then he came over to Innsworth, started winning state championships. And he's currently our athletics director.
Nice. Well, we're going to Frist family say we're going to win this battle one way or another. So it just depends on what side of the fence you want to be on.
Yeah. And they built Hogwarts.
Nice.
It has it's like a clock tower. It's like a really nice laid out campus. So, and the school that I teach at, Lawson, they went 1-0.
There you go.
They won on the last play of the game. So there you go. Good for them too. I'm happy for all those. I'm happy for the kids there. I'm truly happy that they're having a good experience. So that's good for them.
As my man, Coach Gooseby from Auburn High School says, hey, just know that half the state's 1-0 right now.
That guy's so awesome. So underrated.
I love him. He's hilarious.
So underrated. So, but anyway, that's going to do it for us here. We'll see you back here early next week. We start to look at week 1, which is not much of a preview for us, but we'll start to look around the conference as well. But we are the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network for Israel Troop. Welcome back. Glad you're feeling better. I'm Corey Burton. And so long. We'll see you back here next week. Better than ever. Hopefully 2-0, both of us. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
And go Tigers. That's Innsworth.
Do you believe?